thereafter recommitted the bill to the Committees on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, and Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes to engage the relevant agencies with a view to exploring safeguard against abuse. The proceeds of the crime bill seeks to provide for the restraint, seizure, confiscation, and forfeiture of properties derived from unlawful activities. Now, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, has called on Nigerian youth to leverage on the gains of social media rather than its vices. The Speaker, who was represented at the event, spoke at the commemoration of this year's Commonwealth Day celebration in Abuja. He noted that the youths are at the center of social vices such as ritual killings, drug addiction, and internet fraud. The event for the year has the theme Delivering a Future, with students throwing their weight behind this year's celebration.
You must use the various social media platforms to learn and improve yourselves in order to be responsible citizens that will contribute to nation building. As future leaders, the future begins now, and you must avail yourselves of these rare opportunities to play responsible roles in your immediate environment.
In these testing times, it is my hope that you can draw strength and inspiration from what we share as we work together towards a healthy, sustainable, and prosperous future for all.
All we need is now that the Commonwealth should help us come to our schools, tell us as the student that this is how we're going to build our future. Because if they don't come to the nations and the countries, it all dies in their own arena. It doesn't come to the future generation.
The Commonwealth can achieve its goals through protecting its natural resources, good governance, as well as boosting trade.
And on fuel scarcity, airline operators in Nigeria says it is given 3 days notice to shut down operations over lack of aviation fuel. This was the outcome of a meeting rescheduled by the House of Representatives, oil marketers and airline operators or shortage and hike of aviation fuel. At the resumed investigative hearing, oil marketers could not furnish the House with reasons why the price of the product is selling at 670 naira as against 190 naira. Speaking before the Special House Committee, representative of the airline operators and Chief Executive Officer of Air Peace, Allen Onyema, said they can no longer afford the products anymore and will be forced to shut down. However, in their presentation, the oil makers are backing their moves, attributing it to high dollar exchange rate. On his part, the group managing director of the NNPC Limited, Miale Kyari, said that at the moment, 19 oil companies are in possession of 88 million liters of aviation fuel in the country. He assured that NNPC will do everything possible to ensuring that the Jet A1 scarcity is made resolved for the overall interest of Nigerians. And on terrorism, the House of Representatives has denounced the unending terrorist attacks and gruesome killings by armed herdsmen and bandits in Benue communities. This follows a House resolution and the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance by Representative Bem Mzodu on the floor of the House at Thursday's plenary. Mzodu called for the urgent need to stop the renewed terrorist attacks in Benue communities in Guma, Makurdi, Gweru West local governments of the state. According to the lawmaker, a recent attack which took place on the 7th of March, 5 persons were gruesomely killed with several injured. He urged the Nigerian Army, police and other security agencies to ensure the enforcement of prescription order as published in the official Gazette 108.
Concerned that the suspicion and collusion of the connivance of the Nigerian Army and other security agencies in the attack, as an Army unit is said to be stationed at Teyode, a settlement of less than 5 kilometers from Ahente, where the invading herdsmen and bandits operated for more than 2 hours without any intervention from any security agency. Cognizant that the notice of proscription order as contained in the Federal Republic of Nigeria Official Gazette dated 29 September 2021, Volume 108, on the activities of Yambidiga Group, Yantada Group, and other similar arm-wielding groups in Nigeria are declared to be terrorists and illegal in any part of Nigeria, especially in the northwest and in the north-central region of Nigeria.
Now, Taraba State Governor Darius Ishaku calls on Christians to pray for politicians ahead of 2023 elections. Linda Guana was at his year's Battle annual religious program of the Christian Reformed Church in Nigeria, CRCN, at Takum, and now reports.
It is a critical moment in politics, says Taraba State Governor Darius Ishaku. Soon, campaigns for the selection of candidates to vie for various political offices will kick off.
I want to also solicit for your prayers, because we are going to start our politicking very soon. In about a month's time, we should be starting. So we urge you to please continue to pray for us fervently.
The governor calls on these 10,000 congregants to pray ahead of the elections. He also pleads for peaceful coexistence across various communities in the state.
I'm begging you to romance with peace like you romance with your family. If you don't have it, nothing works.
In his welcome address, the president of the CRCN, Isaiah Jurape, admonished Christians to be good Samaritans to their neighbors, advising them to love their neighbors as themselves.
You can see the enmity between the Samaritans and the Jews at that time. That somebody was thirsty as if he was going to die, but somebody had water and said, I will not give you because you are a Jew. And you know, in this life, human beings were very funny. Everything we have in this life is not permanent with us. Whether we like it or we don't like it.
Linda Guana, Viewer TV News, Jalingo.
And on combating crime, the Kaduna State Police Command, under the Commissioner of Police, Mudasiru Abdullahi, says it has recorded tremendous success in the fight against criminality. While briefing newsmen at the command headquarters, the Public Relations Officer, Mohammed Jaligay, says the State Command accomplishments are not without the assurance of the media and commitment towards discharging their statutory responsibility. News correspondent Micah Monday files in the report.
A principal suspect among those who conspire to kill Abdul Karim Bala ibn Na'Allah, son of Senator Bala ibn Na'Allah, representing Kebbi State, is part of the suspects being arraigned by the police.
Gona akan maganan gona na Alhaji Sani wanda ya ba Alhaji Sani kuɗi naira miliyan 60.
The Kaduna State Police Command says justice must take course and the perpetrators brought to book.
With the arrest of over 200 armed bandits, 20 armed robbery suspects, and the recovery of 18 AK-47 rifles, 1,000 live ammunition of different caliber, 11 pump-action rifles, 10 locally fabricated pistols, 140 shotguns, 12-gauge cartridges, 7 motor vehicles of different brands, and 9 motorcycles.
These are other suspects of various criminal offenses being paraded.
Because I'm making locally gun.
Okay. For how long have you been doing this job?
No past 1 year. It's only 1 year now. Waiting make me do this thing. Bandit disturb us for our area. Many. We know they sleep. Day and night, we know they sleep for our area. That is why I make this thing.
The Kaduna State Police Command further calls for a robust police-public partnership in the continuous fight against criminal elements, as the quest of securing the society is everybody's business. This is part of the Nigerian Police Force's efforts in curbing incessant menace bedeviling the nation, ranging from banditry and terrorism, especially in the Northwest. Micah Monday, Viewer TV News, Kaduna.
Remember, you're watching the live broadcast of Newslive, and when we return, UNICEF donates drugs worth $200,000 to Borno State government. We have details of this and more after this break.
Hi, my name is Joseph Adamu, a film editor and graphics person with Viewers Television. I have been with Viewer Television for approximately 1 year now. My job daily is to gather footages and line them up to edit and give that final story, beautiful story which you see on your screen really. After working with the producers and directors, we sit and brainstorm on how to make those beautiful people you see on your TV screens appear and look really good. We have a system where the producer, after the show has been recorded, gives the cameraman and then ensures that the cameraman gets the footages to me. With my script and all of that, I sit down and begin to cut and join to produce the story. Okay, so my work relationship with my producers and cameramen, I'll say I have a healthy work relationship with majority of people I work with, because we're all humans. We tend to have 1 or 2 squabbles, but then differences aside, we always ensure that we're giving our best to make sure the program is a success. So yes, once in a while we have our little squabbles, but we have a very good working relationship, understanding working relationship.
Welcome back, and if you're just joining us, this is Newslive, and we are coming live from Viewer Television. Now, here's a recap of our top stories. Senate moves to re-amend Proceeds of Crime Bill 2022, and also Federal Capital Territory Administration to begin implementation of emergency medical service. Plus, that toll from Mozambique cyclone Gombe rises. Moving on, authority of the Nigerian Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, set plans has been concluded to begin the full implementation of the National Emergency Medical Service and Ambulance System, NEMSA, in the territory. This was disclosed by the Secretary of the Health and Human Services Secretariat, Dr. Abubakar Tafida, following the presentation of a memo on the scheme to FCT Executive Council meeting held in Abuja. Dr. Tafida also said during the first 48 hours of an emergency, not a single dime will be asked from this particular individual. So essentially, it is a big plus for the health sector where a lot of delays would narrowed, where lives will be saved and disabilities are reduced maximally or even avoided. He also disclosed that the FCT administration has already begun a dry run for the pilot phase of the scheme, and challenges as well as possible problems have been identified. It may be recalled that FCT was selected to pilot the new National Emergency Medical Service and Ambulance System, which is a national program of the Federal Ministry of Health that will be implemented in the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. It provides a pre-hospital care in the form of ambulance services to transport patients to hospital and emergency medical treatment services for up to 48 hours in the hospital at no immediate cost to the patient at the point of care. Still on medical matters, UNICEF has donated medical drugs worth over $200 to Borno State government. The handover essential drugs include anti-malarials, analgesic, antibiotics, and other equipments. The gesture is expected to help ensure the newborns, children, lactating mothers, and pregnant women receive quality health care. The chief of Maiduguri Field Office of UNICEF added that intervention is to cushion the Northeast terrorist conflict impact, which has contributed to diseases.
And so for us, we look at that child in a very holistic manner, because a good start to life means good health. And once we have that, and survival is very important for us. So in handing over these essential drugs, we are very hopeful, and we know that the Borno State health authorities now have essential drugs that will go to all the primary health centers. And so this will help mothers, it will help pregnant women, it will help lactating mothers, newborns, and girls and boys under the age of 5 to access basic essential drugs closest health facilities closest in their community.
With all these things, without the drugs and consumables and other equipment, there's no way we can really integrate the primary healthcare services or the primary healthcare centers under one roof. So this is going a long way in assisting the government, because we've procured a lot of drugs for the mothers, and UNICEF have added one of the children to us, which we are very, very happy. And they are sort of reminding us that whenever we are going to make the next procurement, we also have to think along the mothers and the children at the same time. So whenever we are procuring for the mothers, we also have to make provision for the children. So it is very, very great. And I think this is the first presentation I'm getting with so much drugs and other consumables. So.
And on politics in Adamawa, the People's Democratic Party in Adamawa State has described the defection of a chieftain of the party and close ally of the governor as a selfish move to gain political relevance. Stakeholders of the party made this known at a press conference in Yola. Here's the report.
Political activities have continued to heat up as the days count down to the 2023 general elections. In Adamawa State, The ruling People's Democratic Party has had a cause to worry as the chieftain of the party and the governor's right-hand man, Chubado Tijani, decided to part ways with the party. The party, in an attempt to douse the tension and clarify Chubado's stance, held a press briefing at the NUJ Press Center in Yola, the Adamawa State capital.
To intimate you members of the press the true state of affairs regarding the purported defection of Honorable Chubado Tijani Babi. It is on record that Chubado has ceased to be an active member of PDP since 2014 and has not been participating activities in any of the party activities. That is why, for the second, we have never regarded him as a full-blown member of the party because he contributed nothing to the growth and development of the party in Madagali. Let me also bring you to your notice that the person in question willingly refused to support his own brother, Amadou Umaru Fintiri, during the 2019 general election, which as a party regard it as an act of envy. Finally, we wish to call on Chubado to tread words with caution, even as we wish him well in his new political abode.
Chubado, on his part, said his defection has nothing to do with Governor Amadou Fintiri.
PDP going.
My defection from PDP to APC has nothing to do with being influenced by former Governor Nglari. But if political activities pick up, we'll work together.
Still on politics, ahead of its March 26th National Convention, aspirants vying for the office of National Chairman of the All Progressive Congress will pay 20 million naira to obtain forms. This is as the forms for Deputy National Chairman will sell for 10 million naira, while Zonal Chairman and other officers will pay 5 million naira to obtain nomination forms. The APC revealed this in a circular made available on Tuesday after its 25th regular meeting, which was held on March 14, 2022. Female aspirants and people with disabilities will pay 50% of all the aforementioned rates. And from the international scene, Mozambique officials say the cyclone Gombe has flooded large areas of northern and central Mozambique, killing 15 people. The deaths include 5 members of the same family in the Angoche coastal area of Nampula province. Governor Meti Gondola said the number of injured is now at least 50. The Prime Minister's office announced Gombe is the most recent of a series of cyclones that have hit southern Africa so far this year. The cyclones have highlighted how most of the fatalities occurred when the cyclone first hit Mozambique's northern coast on Fridays last week, and its strong winds and rains caused many houses to collapse, said the officials' update. In total, more than 100,000 people were forced from their homes by the strong cyclone, according to official figures. About 12,000 houses were totally destroyed, while 11,000 were seriously damaged. In terms of public infrastructure affected, 2 bridges have been destroyed, 16 health units and 113 houses have been reported damaged. More than 140 power lines have been knocked down, according to official figures. Now, the Chadian authorities has handed over former Central African Republic militia leader to International Criminal Court on suspicion of war crimes and crimes against humanity. The Hague-based court said Maxim Geoffrey Eli Makom Gawaka is suspected of crimes committed in 2013 and 2014 in Bangui and other localities in the Central African Republic. The ICC said in a statement Malcolm was an anti-Balaka and group leader vigilante from the Kars Christian and animist majority. In 2019, he became the country's Minister for Disarmament, Demobilization, Reintegration and Repatriation. On the war crimes front, he is suspected of, among other things, international directing an attack against the civilian population and an attack against humanitarian assistance personnel, as well as enlisting fighters as young as 15. One of the poorest countries in the world, the CAR, spiraled into conflict in 2013 when President Francois Bozizé was ousted by the rebel coalition called Seleka, drawn largely from the Muslim minority. The coup triggered a sectarian bloodbath between anti-Balaka forces and Seleka rebels. Two former anti-Balaka leaders, Patrice Eduardo Agasona and Alfred Yatakum, are already on trial at ICC. Now, the U.S. Department of State has dismissed the latest bid for recognition by the leader of self-declared Republic of Somaliland, President Musa Bihi Abdi, is on the charm offensive in the U.S., where he made a passionate plea for international recognition as a nation-state. Somaliland seceded from Somalia more than 30 years ago, but is not recognized as an independent state by the African Union or the United Nations. President Bihi said 10 years of unification talks with Somalia had achieved nothing. The U.S. Department of State said it welcomed the meeting with Bihi and the discussion on strengthening U.S. engagement with Somaliland within the framework of Single Somalia policy. Since declaring independence from Somalia in 1991, Somaliland functioned like a country with its own passport, currency, flag, government, and army. And then COVID-19 mass testing returns to the streets of Beijing as nearly 30 million people are under lockdown across China. China reported 5,280 new COVID-19 cases on Tuesday, more than double the previous year tally, though only 6 cases were found in the capital of Beijing. The nation's zero-COVID strategy relies on hard localized lockdown to contain the virus. At least 13 cities nationwide are under full lockdown.
面特别的广，而且你看他这一次还有小朋友都中招了，所以我感觉可能现在政府的一些管控措施啊，就是在北京我还是不担心的，就主要是我们每一个人都尽量的少去一些能够聚集的地方，然后少出行啊，然后呢自己把口罩戴好啊，然后就是第3针疫苗的这个接种要把它做好，其他的我倒没有特别的担心。
Remember, you're watching Newslive. Up next, we'll take a look at sports.
You're welcome to Sport News. I am Adamu Joseph. The Nigerian sprinter Blessing Okabere may not appeal the 10-year ban handed her by the Athletic Integrity Unit for doping as the 30-day appeal deadline nears expiration. The AIU, February 18, banned the 2008 Olympics long jump silver medalist for multiple breaches of anti-doping rules. Okabere was handed a 5-year ban for the multiple prohibited substances found in her out of competition test, which was carried out on July 19, 2020, and another 5-year ban for failing to cooperate with the investigators. The 33-year-old was provisionally suspended just hours before she was due to run in the semi-finals for the women's 100 meter at the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo last year. Reacting to the ban, Okabere took to social media on February 19, stating that her lawyers were studying the decision in order to advise her on the next course of action. However, according to our findings, Okabere is yet to make an official appeal at the Court of Arbitration for the sport with just 5 days to the expiration of the deadline. Christian Eriksen is returning to the Danish squad later this month for the first time since suffering a cardiac arrest on the pitch during Euro 2020 last June. Denmark's Football Association said the 30-year-old, who has been fitted with an implantable cardioverter defibrillator, has been selected to play in Denmark's friendlies against the Netherlands on March 26 in Amsterdam and against Serbia on March 29 in Copenhagen. Eriksen made his club comeback this month for English Premier League side Brentford. The Dane suffered a cardiac arrest in Denmark's opening game of the European Championship against Finland in Copenhagen on June 12. He had to be resuscitated on the pitch, lying unconscious for several minutes as the stunned crowd and millions of television viewers around the world watched in horror. Eriksen spent several days in hospital and had the pacemaker implanted to regulate his heartbeat. Eriksen terminated his contract with Inter Milan by mutual consent in December as Italian league rules bar players with pacemakers, contrary to the Premier League. Throughout his career, he has played 109 caps and scored 36 goals for the Danish squad, which has qualified for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. Now, the Super Eagles coach Austin Ogavon will drop 2 players from the 25-man squad ahead of their crucial World Cup Qatar 2022 playoffs round against the Black Stars. The first leg is built for March 25th at the Cape Coast Stadium, with the reverse fixture scheduled for the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, 4 days later. Ogavon had on March 4th released a provisional list of 32 players, with 25 players on the main list and 7 on standby. The coach will announce his final squad list of 23 players for the game before the team's departure to Accra, Ghana next week, Wednesday, 2 days after the team's camp opens in Abuja. It was also learned that the Eagles will depart Abuja next Wednesday aboard a chartered flight for the game. Meanwhile, Ogavon is sweating over the fitness of 3 of his players for the game. The players are Kenneth Omeru, Joe Aribo, and Ola Aina. And that's all we have on Sport News. Thanks for watching.
And that's all we have on Newslive. But before we go, a quick look at our top stories. We've had Senate moves to re-amend proceeds of Crime Bill 2022. And also Federal Capital Territory Administration to begin implementation of emergency medical service. And away from Nigeria, you've heard a death toll from Mozambique cyclone Gombe rises. Well, thank you for your time and company. My name is Philip Sliven. Please, when you see something, do say something. Have a great evening.